Welcome to another episode of Talkin Ball with Pat Leonard. Really excited. Allen Robinson, the second Pro Bowl wide receiver, 11th year vet on the New York Giants, joins the program today. Looking forward to showing you this interview where we talk about food, we talk about hoops, we talk about the Giants, we talk about his relationship with a former Giant, we talk about Saquon Barkley, a fellow Penn State former star, Malik Nabers, and much more. Can't wait to show you that. First, want to tell you about our sponsors. Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink is a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout-like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code TalkinBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you'll get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. Also brought to you by Estate 98 Coffee, an all-natural specialty coffee with no sugar that is convenient for on-the-go professionals and parents. Takes me less than 10 seconds to make a delicious Estate 98 coffee and only a minute more to make a hot coffee or latte from this all-natural concentrate. Allen Robinson II is interested in trying this as well. Go to estate98.com/talkinball to get a special buy one, get one free deal. And by Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL to college kicking off, Bet Online has every stat, matchup, and live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our winner-take-all $300,000 NFL Survivor Pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use the promo code BELIEVE and get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. And now to our interview with Allen Robinson II, wide receiver for the New York Giants. All right, special guest here on Talkin Ball with Pat Leonard, Pro Bowl wide receiver and current Giants wide receiver, Allen Robinson II, an 11th year vet, 562 career catches, 7,028 yards, 43 touchdowns. A pleasure to have you on the program, Allen. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So a good friend of the podcast and of mine, Bennie Fowler, talks you up, man. He gasses you up. And we talked about basketball. We talked about football when we talked about you as an elite athlete and a great friend. But the first question I have for you is, when you sit down at the original Pancake House in Detroit, what is your favorite thing and what are you ordering?
Oh, man, that's people. Anybody who knows me know that those are the best pancakes that I've ever had, and still yet to be topped. But normally I'm gonna go with an omelet and probably a short stack of pancakes. Pancakes fill me up most of the time, so I don't need more than 3. But I'm going with a nice omelet and a short stack of pancakes.
What's in the omelet?
I'm gonna probably go with a Western omelet. So I'm gonna go ham, cheese, peppers, onions.
I respect that. So did you and Bennie used to go there together or?
Yeah. Actually, we used to go with Benny's dad. It's funny as I tell everybody. So on the weekends at that particular place, it's normally packed. So you got to try to get there before, I would say, about 10 o'clock, so it would always be a race to see if we could get up and get there before the line was out the door. And then if the line was out the door, you had to go to Coney Island. That was up the street. And shout out to Coney Island, because I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying them. It's good too. But when you're going for pancakes, nothing tops original Pancake House.
So are you is breakfast your favorite meal? Are you a guy who, now that you're here in New Jersey right now, have you been scouting the area for top spots or what?
Actually, I really don't eat breakfast all too often. During training camp, I try to eat it. I try to eat it more often because we have early practices. So I just try to get a little bit of fuel. But normally, throughout the off season, I really don't eat breakfast all that often. I normally eat around after 12. Sometimes, depending on what time I'm working out, coffee is kind of my breakfast, if you will. I've been drinking coffee since I was about 8 years old. Which is another story, but coffee in the mornings, and then normally my first meal of the day is lunch.
Wait, 8 years old. Let's hear this. How'd that start?
Well, it started with my grandparents. So my granddad was a big coffee drinker. And just being around him a lot in the mornings, I would just kind of start with like a little cup, I guess, or like a little like sip of his. And then by the time I was like 8 or 9, I kind of had my own cup. And it's funny because my grandmother told me that drinking coffee would stunt my growth. She told me that pretty much my entire life. And then I was 5'8" going into my freshman year of high school, and then going into my sophomore year, I had a crazy growth spurt, and I was about 6'1.5".
Wow, so you're living proof coffee does not stunt growth at an
I'm,
early
and
age.
again, I mean, maybe it did. Maybe it did. Who knows? Maybe I had a few more inches in me. Maybe I would have been around 6'5", 6'6". And then I would have obviously been in the wrong sport at that point.
I was
So.
just gonna say you'd be in the NBA at that point,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, and I grew up with a pretty big hoop dream. So.
Yeah, no, I want to get to that. So, first of all, we're sponsored here by Estate 98 Coffee, and they make like a coffee concentrate. You put like a tablespoon in it, in a
Oh,
cup of
really?
ice and some water, and you stir it, and it's instant iced coffee. It's
Oh,
amazing. I have to
wow.
bring you a bottle.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, we got to get you to try that out. And I was armed. I guess it sounds like you're not interested in a huge stack of pancakes right now, but there is a place, Brownstone Pancake Factory in Englewood Cliffs. It's like 20 minutes north of the stadium. I mean, it's kind of the kind of place they'll like put ice cream scoops on your pancakes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sounds
I'll
like
definitely
something that
try it
you would
out
like.
though. I'll try it out. It's the same. It's a brownstone spot in Edgewater as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Did you hit it up already?
I have had it before. It's been a while though, but I have had it before. It's pretty good.
Oh, nice. Are you a foodie in general? Because your
Yeah, I would
YouTube
say so.
channel, I saw you have some really cool, like interesting interviews. I think you're all back in the Detroit area when you were at
Yeah.
home, but I really like you kind of going around at different places, interviewing people like burger joints, barbecue, pizza. Like it seems really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was dope. So I have my own production company. So right now, I just kind of dib and dabble, with some things that that are exciting and cool to me, and just kind of, having being able to be connected with some pretty cool people in itself. Like I shot with my cousin at the barbecue place, and I shot with one of my former teachers who went on to win Big Brother. I shot with my agent at a pizza spot and also breakfast spot. So it was cool. And I would say I'm a pretty big foodie. I was kind of joking in there saying that's the reason why I don't go back to Detroit that often, because I have to hit my spots. And those spots aren't really a part of my off season diet, if you will. So.
Aha, right. So, yeah, you're like me. Like, if there's a piece of food or a bag of chips that I like in the house, I'll eat it. So, the way that I have to show restraint is to take it away from me, right?
Yep. Yep.
Out of
Just take
sight,
it away.
out of sight, out of mind. Well, I had all kinds of restaurant recommendations for you, but it sounds like you're trying to be good. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah. I'll
just,
wait to the off season to hit up those. Right now, I'm just trying to fuel the body properly.
yeah, last, before we pivot into sports here, I noticed in your sit down with your agent, Brandon, who's a great guy, Brandon Parker. I heard you mention that after your career in the NFL that you're actually interested in becoming an agent. Is that still a goal of yours?
Um, I would say possibly. It
Hmm,
was a little while back. For
okay.
me, actually coming into the NFL, Brandon's dad was my agent, Eugene Parker. Um, and he unfortunately passed away going into my third season. But he represented a lot of guys: Deion Sanders, myself, Michael Crabtree, Alshon Jeffrey, Rod Woodson, Curtis Martin. So he had a great Rolodex of guys. And also one thing that I kind of found being around him is that guys had a lot of their things put together on and off the field. It wasn't just the on the field aspect that these guys had going in the right direction, and off the field as well. Those guys were also going in the right direction. And I also felt that was a big part of Eugene. So seeing the impact that he had on not only me but some of those other guys. I always looked at it, whereas if I was to do something, being able to be that kind of an impact for guys coming into the NFL, being able to, some guys are getting paid so much money at such a young age. I even look at myself. I was drafted at 20 years old, so being able to have that proper guidance, coming into the NFL, was very big for me, so if I could do that for some guys as well, I would love to.
Do you do that in the locker room? Like try to walk up to the young bucks and explain to them the way it is? Or is it kind of like they ask questions and you answer, but you're not volunteering the wisdom yet?
No, a little bit of both for sure. For me, again, man, I'm here to, especially being around younger players, because me in the locker room that I stepped in, we had so many young guys. We kind of just, kind of followed each other, and just tried to help out each other. It wasn't many vets in the locker room when I first got drafted.
Yeah,
So now,
Jacksonville. Yeah.
for me, being able to just kind of speak to some of the young guys about those kind of things, and like I said before, I always have an open forum, about anything and just my experiences and just some of the knowledge that I have, because playing with younger guys and playing with anybody, man, I always want to see my teammates be successful. Again, that's on and off the field. I never want to be in a situation where it's like, I wish I had said this to this guy. I wish I had told this person or gave this person this
Mm.
information to use. I just try to allow guys, to take whatever information they want, whether that's me volunteering it or them asking, and let them run with it.
So you aspire essentially to make a difference regardless of what your next job is or career is or whatever, and even in your daily life. That's admirable. So you mentioned to me you had a hoop dream. So was basketball your first love? Because I was reading up some stories about your career back then, and tell me if this is true. St. Mary's Prep versus Detroit Catholic Central. Your team is down 9 in the third quarter, and you scored 20 of 23, including 17 straight to win. So, A, is that accurate? B, was that your basketball highlight? And C, was basketball your first love before you started starring on the football field?
Yeah, basketball was my first love. I spent countless more hours in the gym than I did on the field growing up. And yeah, that was definitely one of my bigger highlights. That was to win a regional championship.
Wow.
It was a game that for me feels like yesterday. That was one of my last actually like organized basketball games. So again, man, it was a surreal feeling, again, to have 20 points in the fourth, going into the fourth down 9 in a high school game, 17 in a row. It was something that I always look at, as far as my basketball career, high school basketball career. That was one of my most fond basketball memories.
Bennie Fowler says that you would go between the legs and dunk in high school. Is that true?
Yeah, I could. In high school, college. Again, man, for us, we spent so many hours in the gym, Benny included. Football was just kind of a seasonal kind of like enjoyment, But I will say I was always better at football than basketball. But basketball, we just spent so much time. Like basketball was all year round. I remember going from a football game to a basketball game and actually having to start that game like in cleats because I forgot my sneakers.
Oh
And we
my!
went
On a
straight,
court?
yeah, yeah, on the court, well, yeah. So when I got there, I just kind of, it was a couple minutes into the game. We were running late. I think my sneakers were like in my mom's car or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but basketball for me and Benny included was all year round.
Did you score a point before you got the sneakers on with the cleats
Uh,
on?
I didn't. Luckily, my mom got there pretty quickly. Somehow, some way, I think I ended up leaving with my dad. And they kind of drove two different cars to go to the football game. So we were just kind of in a rush getting out of that game, going to the summer league basketball game. So we were just in a rush, and my dad beat my mom to the gym. So I didn't have a choice. And I think at that point in time too, and some of our tournaments that we would play in, we would run about 5 or 6 players just so that we can get as much run as we can in. So it wasn't like we had a sub or anything like that to kind of come
Wow.
in and spell me.
What was like the gym, and how late were you there when you were a kid? Like for me, it was my backyard. I had a hoop on top of my garage in my driveway. I even had to have an extra light. Like my dad installed an extra light so that it lit up the entire backyard and not just under the door when it got pitch black, so I could be out there. My neighbors hated me because the ball was always going all over the place.
Yeah, for me, a countless number of gyms, from high school gyms to recreation centers, even my middle school. Like my dad would drop me off before school because our gym teacher would be there around like 5:45, 6 o'clock. He would
Wow.
open the gym, and we would start getting shots up around 5:45, 6 a.m. before school.
So last basketball question. Benny said that you were probably a better dunker, but he thinks he caught more bodies because his high school used to start games by alley-ooping to him. What do you think of that statement?
Now, I would agree with that. His school was also a school that I was, because he's a little bit older than me. So I would watch them when I was still in middle school. He was in high school.
Mm,
And they were like the monstars of basketball. You know, like if you hoop, that was where you wanted to go with Detroit Country Day. Obviously,
damn.
people like Chris Webber went there. But they were the school, you know. So definitely, they would start off with alley oops and all kind of stuff. Man, they were a really good team, really good team.
Matt, no, that's a great backstory. Love hoops. Yeah, I was just talking to Benny actually on our last episode. If you didn't see it, Bennie Fowler and I did an episode before. We talked a lot about what Allen brings to the Giants as well. But actually, this is the last basketball question. Were you watching the gold medal game, and did you see Steph Curry hit that last shot? And what were you thinking in that moment? Because Benny and I were just laughing hysterically, thinking about even the decision to throw that ball up.
I mean, I was watching the game, and I mean that's Steph Curry. At the end of the day, you know, Steph Curry is very, very, very high in regards to where I put him on just the Mount Rushmore of basketball. He would have to be up there for me. I don't
Yeah.
think I've never saw anybody do some of the things that he's done. You know, even to the standpoint of, you know, when you go look at even the amount of money that the Warriors were purchased at, you know, like kind of when Steph Curry was coming to the league. And then now when you look at the value of the Golden State Warriors now, I believe they're the second highest valued franchise in
Yeah.
American professional sports, you know. And it's like, you know, when you look at the whole full circle of, you know, what he's done, championships, man, Steph Curry is. So it's no doubt in my mind when he always has the green light. If he's on the court, he has the green light.
That's very well said. Big picture perspective on what he
Yeah.
has done for that
He's
franchise and what
he's
that
done
means.
a lot, and just basketball in general. You know, I think he's changed the game of basketball. You know, he's really opened people's eyes to, you know, to whereas a lot of coaches now, even in professional hoops, you know, you see them speaking as far as, you know, mid range shots aren't the greatest shots. You know, people want threes over layups. You know, now when you look at kind of who kind of started that and who transcended that, you know, Steph Curry would be the guy.
Yeah, you used to see the coaches telling the kids stop practicing those long bomb
Threes,
threes.
yep,
Never gonna make
yep,
them, and now it's like you're pushing them out there to do it, right?
yep, for sure, for sure.
No doubt. All right, pivot into football. We're only I think 2 days removed from one of your best practices at camp, but you've really kind of been cooking the last week and a half or so, including the joint practices against the Lions. So I wanted to talk to you first. Let's start in May. Why did you decide to sign with the Giants? You know, you're an accomplished veteran receiver, a lot of opportunities. Curious what you saw here in New York that intrigued you.
You know, first, you know, I had a good conversation with Coach Daboll. You know, and I've always been a fan of him and his offense from afar. You know, even when he was in Buffalo, you know, I used to watch a lot of Buffalo tape as far as just, you know, route concepts and certain things that the guys would be doing in their route running and stuff like that. That was one thing, and also, you know, I was up here as well. I've been living up here now, along with Atlanta for the past 7, 8 years or so. So I've been up here, you know. So I was here, you know. That also kind of played a
Okay.
part in it. But again, man, the Giants are a great organization. You know, again, whenever you can play for great organizations, you know, for me, and I've been able to do that a little bit in my career, you know, and I've always enjoyed it, and I think it's always gone a long way, you know. So again, I mean, whenever you can play for a team like the Giants, you know, it's a very storied franchise.
Here I am trying to give you recommendations in the area, and you've been living here for 7 years. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No, I respect that. So you said you said you liked the Daboll Buffalo offense, going back to when he was at the Bills and Josh Allen. What about the offense do you like that applies to your game?
Yeah, I feel like it's a very receiver friendly offense. As far as, you know, the receivers are asked to do a lot and asked to learn a lot, but at the same time, you know, for a receiver, you know, you kind of want that freedom and ability, you know, because again, it's more on your plate, but again, you're able to run the entire route tree. You know, guys are moved around different places. You know, if you're a wide receiver, you know, step into an offense like this again, you have to learn a lot, but you're able to put your entire plethora of what you can do, you know, out there. You know, again, you're able to run every kind of route. You're able to show, you know, what you can do as a receiver.
Is that unique compared to some of the other offenses? Like I know in your other stops, you were versatile enough to, you know, whether it's in the slot or outside, like you can always play both. But is it more unique in Dable's offense that everybody learns everything and it's kind of required of you?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
so. Again,
Yeah.
and you know that's kind of what he talked about. You know, kind of coming into this thing. You know, so for me, you know, from day one, you know, I was in the playbook. You know, trying to figure out, you know, just just trying to learn as much as I can, but again, like I said before, that's unique in a sense, but again, as a receiver, that's what you want. Again, you want to be able to be moved around different places and run everything, and again, as a collective, everybody kind of does that. And like I said before, as a receiver, that's what you want.
You explained to me the other day that you had gotten a chance to kind of really hone in on the F in the spring and now kind of change it up a little bit to what you're playing in the summer. Could you just explain the intricacies of how you've applied kind of those variable positions to your acclimation to New York's offense?
Yeah, so for me, even kind of dating back, I've been able to play in the slot, as you mentioned in my career, I've been able to play outside, so being able to kind of, learn different positions, if you will, even though everybody's moved around, being able to learn different spots, I feel like has helped out a lot, again, just as far as me getting a better grasp of the offense in general, again, for me, I always want to learn as much as I can, so I can help my team out, as much as I can, so for me, being able to kind of being able to learn the perspective of both spots and both responsibilities, for me and my grasp of the playbook and just understanding, I feel like grew a lot in that sense.
Do you agree that you're having a strong camp?
I feel like that, again, for me, I try not to measure certain things like that, when you're actually in the midst of it all. For me, it's just more so about figuring out day to day where and how I can get better, what I can do better, different things that need to be polished up. Again, I had a coach back in Jacksonville. He used to always say, a constant, never ending self improvement, and that's something that I've tried to live by throughout the course of my career. Again, I try not to measure too many things in the midst of battle. I just try to reflect on, okay, what needs to be improved, what needs to be polished, what things can I do better, and how do I get that accomplished each and every day. And I just try to hone in on those things and continue to improve on those.
What do you think of Daniel as a quarterback?
Man, I think he's had a great camp. Again, I think that he's been, communicating, leading, and everything like that. And it's been fun to see. It's been very fun to see. Like I said before, man, just seeing everybody grow as a group. Obviously, it's preseason and the work isn't finished. But it is. I think that even having a younger group when it comes to receivers and so on and so forth. I do feel like it's a very, very hungry group. And I think that, from a day to day standpoint, everybody is eager to get better, and really embracing how can I get better, and I think that's the kind of group that you want to have. You want to have a group that's focused on, winning, being better, and improving each and every day.
You were very productive, as you said, right when you came into the league early on in your career in Jacksonville. When you look at Malik Nabers, does he have the makeup to be a star right away? What do you like about what you see from him on the field, off the field, as a guy who's done it?
Man, very very versatile player. I think that when you just kind of look at over the spring and training camp, the kind of plays that he's been able to make. I've been very impressed. And like I said before, for me, in most cases, with guys, obviously guys have talent, but it's kind of the off the field stuff. That's more impressive. I think he's very into meetings as far as whether that's questions or film. Rewatching plays and so on and so forth. And I think that's why he's been able to continue to improve throughout training camp. Is I think he's been honed in on the details of himself and just watching guys and figuring out, okay, what are guys doing here, what are guys doing there, and being locked in. And and again, I also want to give credit to the entire group. When you have a young group, sometimes training camp can just kind of become overload. But I think that everybody has just been steady on how they can get better. Like I said before, we have a very when it comes to film, I think that the our receiver group has been very detailed, post practice watching film, as far as
Hmm.
okay, how can we be better? What are we doing? And also shout out to Coach Grow. I think that he's kind of pushed that as well as far as us getting better each and every day.
That's an interesting observation by you because, like you said, it's a really young room. So that reflects very well, right? On like a Wandale Robinson, a Jalen Hyatt, a Malik Nabers, obviously Slayton, yourself, Hodgins, other guys. But the fact that there's so much youth in there and that they're committed to those details and that you, an 11th year vet, are impressed by the film sessions, that seems to say something to me about kind of how these guys conduct themselves and operate. That's impressive.
It's cool to see. Like I said before, man. Though, as a group, you have everybody who wants to get better. And I think that's the most important thing in this league, especially when you're going into, a season. You want guys who are eager to get better. And really honed in on the details of that. And I think that's the kind of group that we have.
What does it take to get open? Because I when I watch you, I feel like you're a smooth route runner, and you always seem to end up creating that separation at the top or end of the route. And I was talking to Bennie because he's always kind of teaching me the ins and outs of route running, being a precise one himself. And he said that, in addition to your hands, like that's something that you're a technician at, you always know how to get open. Like, what does it take? And has that been something that you've been adept at forever? How much work has it taken to get to the level that we're seeing now?
Man, it takes a lot of work, and at the same time, being able to be back healthy and so on and so forth, that's always a big part of it. When you're in this league, man. I even look at last season. I played majority of last season. At probably 85% at best. And just
Mm.
trying to figure it out. And trying to make it work and make it happen. So even for me coming into this off season. I didn't know how this offseason would shake out. I didn't know, health wise, where I would kind of be at. But, I didn't really have much of downtime in the offseason because I wanted to kind of, get back to what I was used to and being able to, be the player that I, am used to being. So this offseason, it took a tremendous amount of work just again from the time the season ended last year after we lost to Buffalo in the playoffs. I was with my trainer figuring out how can I get better. That's plyos and then when you talk about the football aspect of it, it's just more so again being on the details of different leverages and different things like that. And for me, fortunately, I've seen a lot of football. So when it comes to routes and leverages and things like that, as far as how and what I want to get accomplished, I kind of have that muscle memory. Now I've been able to, again, being back healthy, being able to put the physicals with that, to kind of be able to create the separation on certain routes and knowing what I want to get accomplished on this route.
Have a few more questions for you on the back end. Just want to tell our listeners about Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning, big coffee drinker here too, and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order. And if you use the discount code Talkin Ball 25 or access it through the QR code on your screen, you will get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com. So you told us a little bit about last year. That's good context, Alan. I was curious too. I know you spent 1 year there with the Rams. I know Stafford was only healthy for about half of it. But I was curious, just playing a year with Sean McVay, he's kind of changed a lot about how the league is operated. Part of kind of this revolution of coaches who are calling plays, Kyle Shanahan, McVay, O'Connell, these guys who people have a lot of respect for. Just wondering what you learned about, McVay and one of the offenses that a lot of people have respect for right now.
Man, I learned a lot of football being in LA. Just as far as route detail, angles. Even I learned a lot about the run game. As far as run fits. How those things complement each other. Once you kind of get into the play action world, making certain things look alike and so on and so forth. So being
Mm.
out in LA, man, I learned a lot of football. Again, we were all kind of banged up that year. I think I played 8 or 9 games, and I had to have surgery on my foot. But at the same time, like I said before, being around there, being in meetings, and just being able to be around that group, man, I learned a lot of football.
Hmm. Um, you went to Penn State. I'm from Philadelphia originally. I have a lot of family there. First team All-American there, star receiver in the Big Ten. And was wondering, there was just a former Penn State star who was the Giants face of the franchise for a while, is now playing for the Eagles. And just wondering, because you could have crossed paths, if you have any kind of relationship with Saquon, and what that is.
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, by us being Penn Staters, you always wish your brother the best, but again, I mean, I've always been a fan of his. We've never been on the same field together,
Hmm.
but I've always admired his game. I remember dating back to one of the first clips that kind of, uh, put me or made me aware of Saquon. It was like a Oklahoma drill or something like that at Penn State. I think they were in the stadium, and Saquon broke like 3 tackles in like a 5-yard radius, and I kind of remember everybody going crazy. And I remember being like, who is this kid? And then seeing him to go on to do the same thing in the NFL, you know, has been cool to see. Like I said before, man, when you had that fraternity of Penn State, you always root for your brother.
And coming back to your team real quick, two of the quarterbacks that you've gotten some run with. You caught a pass from Drew Lock in the first preseason game, a nice out there, and then the other day, like I said, one of your best practices at camp was Tommy DeVito, the local hero, Mr. Cutlets, slinging it to you. Just wondering what you have seen and like about both of those guys.
And those guys are competitors, and when I say competitors, again, people who are coming out there each and every day and eager to get better. I think that you always got to tip your hat, to the respects, of people at the quarterback position because it's never easy. And for me, being a veteran, just always trying to open communication and just kind of being where those guys need me to be. I think that's the most important thing, is just always, having feedback with the quarterback, no matter who that is or no matter who's throwing the ball, is just kind of, what are you seeing? How are you feeling this route? What are you seeing? Where do you need me to be? Making sure that everything is timing up properly. So I feel like, I've always took the approach that my job as a receiver is to make the quarterback's job as easy as possible. And I feel like I've just, continued to kind of ride that wave of that, throughout the course of my career. It's just me stepping into any situation, wanting to make the quarterback's job as easy as possible.
How'd you end up making the New York area your home?
So originally I came up here a lot, doing some rehab. I tore my ACL in my contract here in Jacksonville, 2017. And I did a lot of rehab and stuff up here for my knee, and just kind of, fell in love with the area. Again, it offers a lot, as far as, from whatever you want, restaurants, rehab for me, which was where it was at. I did a lot of my stuff, and I still do some stuff at the NBA PA facility, from time to time when I have time. I'm in some good trainers there, so I've just kind of, made it my home, and it's been good to me.
Very cool. Last question. So I think one underrated thing about you is you've played in 3 playoff games. You have 18 catches for 210 yards and a touchdown in those 3 games. The first one in Chicago, 10 for 143 and 1 touchdown. Just wondering, you've had a really accomplished career, some huge seasons, including Jacksonville, 2 in Chicago, and you've contributed to, several teams in a big way. Just wondering, how much of an itch do you have to get back to that stage and continue to do what you've done on that stage? And what are your remaining goals in a career where you've accomplished so much?
Huge itch. Anybody who's played in the playoffs, man, know that it's a different level of football and there's nothing like it. Obviously, you have a lot of love for the regular season games, but the atmosphere, the environment, when you step into that tournament, which is the playoffs, it's very exciting. And for me, at the end of the day, I don't really have too many, goals except for being able to pour into my team, to my teammates, and helping create a winning environment. That's the only goal that I've had now, for a few years is, I want to step into any situation and being able to again help pour into creating a winning culture, help pour into winning, whatever that may be. Again, sometimes roles are bigger than others. Sometimes the role is small, but at the end of the day, I think that it takes all 53, and that's something throughout the course of my career that I've really learned is, when you have a winning team, no job is too big, no job is too small. Everybody's in there together, and I always want to help, help establish that and help, give the understanding to that and kind of, provide, some sound reasoning to help create a winning culture.
As you and I sit here and now, you mentioned a winning culture. We're coming out of a practice day, which is preceding the second preseason game against the Houston Texans on a road trip. Looking forward to that. But one thing I felt like I noticed, it looks like this is going to be a dress rehearsal for the regular season. You guys are doing the cards at practice. It looks like everybody's playing. Your coach was in kind of game mode at this final preparation for the game. Just wondering, take us inside. How much am I getting the accurate read on what the approach to this game is? That like it's go time here. No more training camp, no more dog days. Like this, we're treating this like a regular season game. Is it that intense, and is there that much of a focus right now on let's go?
Yeah, definitely. It's always a focus, whenever you're lining up, but again, being able to have, certain guys playing and different things like that, obviously you want to make sure that you're, in communication and doing everything that's teeing up, for performance come week one, So when you look at these kind of weeks, you want to kind of take yourself through the mentality of going on the road, getting into your routine, being able to, get your body back, putting the finishing touches on the week how you would a normal game week, So you want to put yourself in that mentality. Obviously, this is kind of like a in-season Friday, if you will, and again, like I said before, you always want to take those days and over the next 48 hours or so to put the finishing touches, on the week so that you can tee up a great performance come game day.
No doubt. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on the field, and we are super grateful for you doing the podcast. Allen Robinson II, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
That was an excellent conversation with Allen Robinson II. Next, check out Talkin Ball live from the press box at NRG Stadium in Houston, right after the Giants take on the Texans in their second preseason game. That should be over in your next video come Saturday evening. Remember, we are sponsored here by Estate 98 Coffee, estate98.com/Talkin Ball for a special buy one, get one free deal. Also by Bet Online and by Boom Chaga Mushroom Super Drink, a natural extract loaded with anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting antioxidants and heart-healthy compounds. You can easily pour this natural liquid supplement into any of your favorite drinks. I put mine in my coffee every morning and immediately feel the difference. I personally have felt a post-workout-like energy boost with Boom. Chaga also has the ability to lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and improve immune and heart health with its beta-glucans and antioxidants. Go to boomchaga.com today to place your first order, and if you use the discount code TalkinBall25 or access it through the QR code on your screen here, you will get 25% off your first subscribe and save order. Right now, that means a month's supply costs you only $30. Start feeling the difference today at boomchaga.com.